Hello and welcome back to the Best Start Guide. It is day 200, and I figured what better thing to do than to go over my top 10 champions so far on the account. Because it's been a ride so far. I have quite a lot of champions acquired, and really, I'm just going to look at the top 6 today. The top that I 6-starred. The top 23. There's 23 of them. That's how many I've 6-starred. So that's what I'm going to be looking at today. And I'm going to be explaining my choices a little bit as to why. Don't really have a long-winded introduction. Basically, I made a nice little list on this little text file here, and I'm gonna kind of scroll down and reveal it, and hopefully it's gonna look good. So coming in at number 10, there we go. It's Mika. So we got Lady Mikage. She was kind of a lucky pull. I did nothing to deserve her. She normally would take you a year or two if you're working away at the fusion, but you are guaranteed to get her eventually on your account, whoever you are. They constantly run events that leave the various legendaries and epics that you need to build her, but we just got randomly lucky and we pulled her. That said, I'm still putting her at number 10, not number 1. She's the only mythical I've ever owned, by the way, on this account or on my main account or any other account for that matter. This is it. And she has an amazing kit. She's in a lot of my dungeon teams. I'm going to tab out while I try to describe what she's doing for the account. So, of course, here's the fusion. It takes a long time to get all the necessary champions. This is about the progress that I've made in the 6 months that I've been playing. Not that I was specifically trying to go for this. For the most part, I wanted to make sure I got through the main Arbiter missions. So I did get Arbiter. And now I'm kind of stuck on... I got to fuse Raz and Scarhide. That's the next one. So that's basically stopping me from getting Ramantu until I get the stuff for him. So how messed up is it that I got Lady Mikage before I got Raz and Scarhide? It's pretty fun. So in the dungeons, she's on a number of my main teams. I got a team that I called the All-Star team. You know what? Maybe it's a bit spoilery if I go into the All-Star team first. So instead, I'll just say Lady Mikage is instrumental to Dragon on this account because he used that ally attack, does a lot of damage, and she's got a nice stun for the waves. And I use her in the Fire Knight team, of course, because you got to hammer your way through that shield. But here, let's stick to this. We'll include the stuff in the vault. Not that any of them are even vaulted. And I realize a lot of them are labeled as favorites, but it's a bit misleading because they're not necessarily going to be the ones that made the top 10. But if I take just the favorites here, with Lady Mikage, she's got 2 forms, of course. You can't even switch to the second form when you have it on this list. That's inconvenient. But anyway, she can do the ally attack. She can do an area of effect stun. Just incredibly helpful to be able to stun waves, to be able to strip all their buffs, to be able to place weaken on every enemy in the stage. All with one champion. And in her alternate form, she does that ally attack. She does it frequently. She's instrumental to my clan boss team too. So I have a clan boss team that right now does 160 million to the Ultra Nightmare clan boss, which is more than double what you need to do to get the top chest. So I'm very happy with her. I think when I added her to the team before adding her, it was maybe something like 80 million or 90 million, and adding her just brought it up to 160 million. Crazy stuff. Anyway, number 9, it's Xeno. Xeno Grey Blade Master. So here's the great thing about Xeno, particularly when it pertains to Lady Mikage, is Lady Mikage's A1 includes an attack from somebody in the Shadowkin faction, which, luckily enough, Xeno Grey Blade Master actually is. So there's a good interplay between the two of them. It's very good for this account in particular. Really, you want to pair Lady Mikage with your best Shadowkin. Everybody's about to get a free ninja, by the way. I thought that was super cool. I'd love to add a ninja to the ranks on this account. I probably will max out ninja when I get him in 5 days. Who else out there is excited about the ninja? I think he's going to be amazing, and I might actually substitute him as my main ally attacker with Lady Mikage and see who is ultimately better between Xeno and Ninja. I don't know who it's going to be or for which modes. I mean, for clearing waves, Ninja's definitely going to be better. For Clan Boss, it's unclear because on Xeno, I do have the 2-star blessing, which was a lucky find. I've got her in Savage gear to do a lot of extra stuff. You know what? I should probably cover the builds as well, just to show you guys not just who my favorite champions, my top 10, but how I built them as well. So Lady Mikage, the theory behind this, I made her kind of middling speed, but there's a good reason for this. When I get to the Clan Boss team, you'll see why she had to be around 200. But I wanted to make sure she had a decent amount of accuracy. Honestly, I'd love to get her to closer to 400 accuracy, but 250 is fine for what I use her for now. But I've got her in reflex gear, basically because I want her to refresh her her buff duration as much as possible and also refresh her ally attack as much as possible. It just means you're doing that much more damage that much more quickly. So with Xenograe, I've got her in Savage for the extra damage that it does. I even got super lucky when I rolled up this gauntlet, and I got an extra 20% crit damage. I didn't get any crit rate on it, of course, so that's always a problem. She actually doesn't, she's not crit capped, but she has a lot of crit damage, so it's erratic, but when she hits hard, she hits really hard. Ultimately, I probably want to roll her up to 100%, but for now, this is what Xenograe's in. She is extremely useful against Fire Knight in particular, because basically, whenever Lady Mikage uses an A1, like when you're fighting Fire Knight, you got to break through that shield, right? And right now, this account's up to Fire Knight 20, gets through Fire Knight 20 in I think about 2 or 3 minutes. And against the Fire Knight, you got to break that shield, which means 10 hits basically every turn before you can even do any damage at all. So with Lady Mikage, you use her A1, which is 1 hit, and it adds Xenograe, who gets 3 hits. Then she uses her ally attack, which uses everyone in the team, and you get another 3 hits from Xenograe. But also her other moves increase the speed of the party. Like, increased speed on the whole party is amazing. Particularly on a single target attacker like Xenograe Blademaster, you'd think, it's enough that she does a lot of damage, but the fact that she increases the speed of the whole party is huge. I'm even thinking, you know what, I can't believe she's only number 9 on this list, but I'm going to keep going down the list, and then we're going to see why she was only number 9, because I am pretty fond of these 10 champions. That probably should surprise no one. So number 8, Armiger. Armiger is amazeballs. Everyone can get Armiger. I recommend you 6-star Armiger, whoever you are, basically unless you happen to get a Cold Heart. I was not lucky enough to get a Cold Heart or any other kind of enemy max HP damage dealer, but this is a big part of it. The enemy max HP means you could do these huge hits, but he uniquely pairs this with a block revive. And that's amazing when you get to the Frost Spider, because this Frost Spider, basically there's only 2 ways to kill him, or her. It's probably a her, come to think of it. There's only 2 ways to kill her, and you either have to have her be on fire when you do the killing move, or you have to block revive. And if you have Armiger teamed up with a bunch of other champions that don't really do much in the way of damage, he's going to be the only one doing the big hits. So statistically, he's going to be the one that kills the spider, and you're going to get the block revive. If you are struggling with Frost Spider, this is your man. If you're struggling with regular Spider, this is your man, because his A1 has decreased turn meter 30% if the attack's critical, and I made damn sure my attack was critical. So what I did with him is crit capped him. He's a little bit overboard, but these were the best pieces I happened to have. I wanted to have him nice and fast. So he's got 220 speed, 212 accuracy. Also important because if you don't have the accuracy, none of the effects kick in, right? So I built him in Destroy, specifically for the Scarab King. So that brings me to another boss. He's instrumental in Frost Spider. He's instrumental in Scarab King. It's very important for your Scarab King to be team to be first. Can't talk today. It's very important for your Scarab King team to completely be decked out in the Blood Shield ring, because, or it doesn't have to be a ring, it could be the amulet or the banner, but if you're starting out, you're likely to find a ring, you're not likely to get a banner or an amulet. The ring, what it does is basically you get a shield every time you hit the Scarab King, and every time you hit the Scarab King with somebody that's not under a shield, he immediately counterattacks with a provoke, and it just demolishes your party completely. So this is the way that you build Armiger to take down the Scarab King. He's basically all you need. Not that I'm saying he solos the Scarab King. He isn't soloing it in this build. He's just doing all the damage that you need, and he's very quickly shaving off all of the damage with his A2. With his A1, it's important against things like Spider, Fire Knight, or other bosses where you need to control their turn meter. The Dark Fae is another good example. You want a lot of turn meter control on her. So it's kind of amazing that an uncommon is this good. He's far and away above and beyond every other uncommon in the game, with maybe the exception of Shield Guard. I go on about Shield Guard, but here's the proof right here. Did I max Shield Guard? No, I didn't. I wanted to. I'd planned to. I made a point of seeking out every copy of Shield Guard I could get while I went after extra copies of War Maiden. Guess what? Didn't build War Maiden in the end, didn't build Shield Guard in the end, but built Armiger, and he's well worth it. I can prove it against a number of bosses. I'll probably get to that in this video. We'll see. But that's number 8. We didn't cover the masteries, but you know what? The masteries shouldn't be too much of a surprise. If anybody has a specific question about a mastery, they're usually pretty intuitive. In his case, I went for Helm Smasher because you get more damage out of the enemy max HP, because it scales off the enemy max HP, so you get lots of damage out of it. But honestly, of all the masteries, you could probably just as easily put him in War Master, because sometimes you get capped anyway on damage, and then you get more by the extra proc of War Master. But on an early account such as mine, I don't think I'm anywhere close to maxing it out. So that's why I chose Helm Smasher. Anyway, on to number 7. It's Eastrid. I'm pretty fond of finding Eastrid. Now, if it weren't for the Eastrid fusion, the fastest champion on this account at this point would be Arbiter, because we did get Arbiter, but I actually haven't built her yet. I haven't had time to get around to her. I've really only managed to get around to building Shill of the Drakes, who we got around the same time. I haven't even picked all of her masteries yet. I haven't figured out whether I was going to commit to Timely Intervention or Fearsome Presence, because it depends on whether I want her to have a stronger stun chance, or just have her get more turns and be able to revive more frequently and heal more frequently. But that's kind of a segue that's neither here nor there. There's also Diabolist. This is probably who would be in this slot if it weren't for the Eastrid fusion, because Diabolist is maybe the fastest rare in the game, and I had her in the fastest gear for a while. I think I got her to close to 300 speed, if not up to 300 speed. At this point, she's a lot slower, and I still use her, but she's not the main speed lead, although I think I actually use her on the same team as Eastrid, come to think of it. I think I just have Eastrid's speed boost into Diabolist, but Eastrid right now, the way I got her built, all speed. Her total speed right now is 327. I'd really like to get this to 339, which I could do if I could just get speed boots to roll speed as the main thing. And I'll show you how many of these I got. I think I've got 15 of them now. Fitting room, equipped, primary, speed, and just rank 6. Yeah, I got 15 of them. Now, chance is 1 in 7 that you get the stat that you want. It's even 1 in 6 if you use the Chaos Dust. I mean, I don't have a lot of Chaos Dust. I don't know how worthwhile it would be to roll it. I mean, I could do one, and then the chances, it should be 1 in 6, right? One, two, three, four, five, six. I could do a couple now. I'm feeling lucky. Wouldn't it be cool if I did it while we were going live? Oh my God, it happened. And it's the boots that she's got. I don't believe it. A miracle happened. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to crank her all the way up to 12. I just got way more speed on her. I am super enthused, guys. All right, so here's what we're looking at now. We got a 339 speed Eastrid. That's why she's on the list. She's fast. She also gets an extra turn after she does her speed boost, which is practically broken. Like she's like an arbiter on crack. She gets the increased speed, she gets the increased attack. She gets that free turn, so she immediately boosts into this one, which steals turn meter. It doesn't steal, it decreases the turn meter of all enemies. If it stole all the turn meter, she'd be like another Armands. God, Armands. That putz really cheeses me off that I didn't go for Armands on this account, because seriously, he's easily the best champion fusion that they've ever done. I can't believe I missed Armands. He'd definitely be somewhere on this list. He still probably wouldn't be number one, because as much as I think he's an amazing champion, I also hate him because he's just horrible to deal with in the arena. But anyway, Eastrid is maybe the next best thing for speed we could have got on this account. And yeah, she's even got a sleep on the A1, which can always be a fun way to kind of annoy your opponent. So you stop them before they can get a chance to go, kind of like the Sifis or the Lady Mikages of the world. This is yet another champion that can do that. And I gave her Intimidating Presence because I got the 5-star blessing on her. I'm kind of thinking of giving her Polymorph, but the Intimidating Presence, I mean, there's kind of a tug of war that goes on with speed, right? And with this aura, I'm weakening the enemy team's aura by 20% and strengthening ours by 15%. I'd love it if I could just get this extra 1-star. I'd probably never be able to afford that, though. It might take like 6 years to build up to that point, particularly because I am not being good about farming Iron Twins on this account. But anyway, this is Eastrid, the speed lead, and she is fast. At 339. My goodness. This is almost as fast as my lead on my main account. I mean, by almost as fast, I mean it's still about 40 points shy of it, but it is difficult to get anybody above 300 speed in this game, which is why when people ask, there was a guy asking in my Discord channel the other day, he was just asking about how much speed do you need in arena? And the answer is basically as much as you can get. There is no threshold number because there's always faster people out there. But basically, all of your fastest gear, absolutely every fastest piece on your one fastest unit, and that is your speed lead. And basically the rest of your teams, unless you're a whale and you can get tons of champions above 400 speed, the rest of your teams are probably go second teams. You just accept the fact that you're not going first. Or, and this can be even better, you can go second against their speed lead teams, and when you see that they have a slower team, then you use your speed lead to make sure you go first. And with Eastrid, with the increased attack, with attack-based champions, you're going to have a good time. There, that's Eastrid. Eastrid is an amazing champion. That's why she's number 7. There's 6 that are better. Let's see who's next. It's Uragrim. Man. Uragrim was great for this account. So I think this might have been the very first Void epic that I pulled. He might still be the only Void epic on the account, come to think of it. He's certainly the only one that... Oh, that's a lie. There's also Skullcrown. So there are 2. But man, Uragrim is amazing. He can basically solo a bunch of dungeons. He probably would not be able to solo Fire Knight because of that difficult to deal with shield mechanic. Spider would be tricky as well because the Spider's super healy. But basically against Dragon and Ice Golem, you could probably crank up his stats enough that he can come in with all this poison, with all this healing. He's already doing a bit of healing for himself. He's got like a big heal he could give to himself every couple of turns with a cleanse, so you can get rid of any poisons you're getting, like from a spider. And he's putting out tons of poisons of his own. 2 hits to do a poison on his A1, which means if you pair him with somebody like Lady Mikage or any ally attacker, you can put out tons more poisons with each ally attack. So if I'm not mistaken, I think he's still on my main clan boss team as well, and he's responsible for a lot of the damage because he takes part in those ally attacks, putting up more poisons. Every time this comes around, he puts out some heals and some poisons. Just a terrific champion. I've also got him. Oh, you know what? I switched the ring away from him. I realized I had him in a blood shield ring, like the ring I suggested for Armiger if you're going to build a team. But I gave it to a different ogre, I guess. So that's why I had emergency heal, because every time the shield breaks, you get a little bit of healing. So that's just one more bit of healing. If I was to try to solo with him, I would probably put that ring back on him, or find another blood shield ring. Do I happen to have 2? No, I don't have any free. So that's too bad. But basically, I put him in regen, made sure he had over 230 accuracy, just so that he's accurate enough to place the poisons on the clan boss. And aside from that, like this guy, as long as he's in the team, I know we're fine. Even if the rest of the team dies, he's just going to continue plugging away, healing himself, placing poisons on the enemy. He is a party animal. So that's Uragrim. That's why he's number 6. Number 5, Sun Wukong. So here's somebody who has another lot of good interplay with the other champions I talked about. Like, if you have an Uragrim who stays in a fight and refuses to die, and everybody else dies, Sun Wukong might also die, but he gets back up every 3 turns. I mean, everybody knows this about Sun Wukong, right? You're all following my best start guide. You've watched every episode. You know exactly what Sun Wukong could do. I mean, case in point, I fully booked him. This is why he's number 5. You know he's number 5 because I believed in him enough that I fully booked him. Legendary books are practically impossible to get in this game. The only reliable way to get them, if you are free to play like me, is you got to do clan boss every day. And even then, you'll just get a legendary tome every now and again. So he's got block buffs that he can place everywhere. He's also stripping all the buffs too, so this move is practically broken. But this guy's fantastic for Hydra, because he can place that block buffs. You don't want Hydra putting up tons of buffs, particularly that pesky poison cloud that prevents you from doing any damage at all. So you really want Sun Wukong getting in there and placing those block buffs. And then you got this move, the Staff of Wonder. Will ignore 50% of the target's defense. And the way I've got him built is I've already got him ignoring 25% of defense from the Savage. Ignores 25% of enemy defense. Then if you go to the Masteries, I got Helm Smasher, which has a 50% chance of ignoring 25% of the defense. So basically, he's going to ignore 75% or 100% of the enemy's defense. This move hits super hard, and once you've nuked one champion, it immediately nukes all the rest with this spillover damage. So it is extremely satisfying to just completely explode just the weakest link on their party and immediately kill the rest of their party. This guy, I mean, honestly, I'd be fine placing this guy as number 1. He's that good. I got a 2-star blessing on him, which is a good threshold. It gets you extra attack. You want him to have high attack. How high is the attack that I got? I somehow managed to get him close to 5,000 on this account, and holy crap. Did I seriously get to almost 243 crit damage? And the answer is yes. Yes, Gavin, you did. You're looking at the same numbers as everybody else. Genius. But kind of in the same vein that I said, you want to put your best speed gear on your speed lead. You want to put your best damaging gear on your best nuker. And on this account, it's him. Sun Wukong is the best nuker. It's actually kind of awkward because he might also be one of my best debuffers. So you also want to make sure he has enough accuracy. 261, is that good enough for arena at high levels? No, not by half. But if you can pair him with somebody like Lady Mikage or someone else that has increased accuracy, that can help. So Sun Wukong is totally amazing. I mean, like, what areas is he not good at? I mean, it'd probably take less time for me to describe what areas is Sun Wukong not good at. And the answer to that's probably just none. I mean, he's great for Hydra. Against Clan Boss, if you I mean, he could be really squishy and it doesn't matter. Clan Boss keeps knocking him down, might even make him the stun target, knock him out. And then instead of him being stunned, he's just knocked out, and then he gets back up after 3 rounds and immediately attacks. So you could even mitigate the stun using Sun Wukong. Against Spider, for a while, I was just doing a two-man team with Xeno. She was, for the most part, doing the damage to the Spider, but Sun Wukong would keep getting back up, helping her out, doing damage, and then soaking up all the Spiderling attacks, so that she was really never in any danger. Because before she'd take about 2 or 3 poisons, Sun Wukong would be back up and immediately taking the poisons again until he dies, by which point Xeno would be nice and healthy. Because I've got her with, what's this one called? Life Drinker? Yeah, so she's got Life Drinker, so she's sucking back health using that. She's also placing a leech. And I do apologize that I'm kind of straying backwards a bit, but she does place the leech as well, and that also helps steal a lot of damage. So, yeah, I can't think of a single bad thing to say about Sun Wukong, except he is extremely annoying to deal with in the arena. Like, you want to have him, you don't want to be facing him. He is maybe the second most bannable champion after Armand's, I want to say, unless Lady Mikage is also one of the most bannable champions, but also that's really advanced stuff. If you're still early on in your account, you're probably not that worried about Sun Wukong or Armand's or whatever, because they're so far ahead of you in arena that you're probably not seeing them. But there are responses to Sun Wukong. Like, I was fortunate enough to pull a Phenax and a Foley. And really, when you think about it, you could even use Armiger. All 3 of these guys have a block revive, so if they hit hard enough, you can just come in and you could just stop your enemy Sun Wukong and he's just dead. But under normal circumstances, Sun Wukong just will not quit. He just keeps getting back up. He will not die. And that's why he's number 5 on this list. He's been really good for the account. Great campaign farmer, in fact. At number 4, okay, so we're coming in to maybe my favorite rare category champion. Now, I lament that I didn't get Cold Heart. Cold Heart is somebody that everybody wants. Everybody knows she's the best rare in the game. It's kind of not even close. She's amazingly good at basically every boss because she has that enemy max HP damage. And basically, if you don't get lucky enough to pull a Cold Heart or one of the legendaries or epics that does what she does, or that does some of what she does, like, she uniquely does more than like any other epic or legendary that also does the same thing. She kind of has her own slot in the meta when it comes to dungeons. But outside of that, I'm going to say, and why am I on Uragrim? I meant to click on Bellower. But outside of that, Bellower does like every debuff you could possibly want. He is the perfect crowd controller, and that's why I love him. He's in a lot of my dungeon teams. He's in my main Doom Tower team, and he just helps me climb the Doom Tower because here's how I got him built. I've got him in a stun set with the Fearsome Presence Mastery, and this is very important. And he's also got Sniper and whatever the other one's called. Why am I blanking on it? Master Hexer, Sniper, and Fearsome Presence. And what those do is the Master Hexer makes his other debuffs likelier to land. So all of the others are up by 5%. So this has a 20% chance of placing block active skills. Booked it, so it's now 30, and that Master Hexer brings it to 35. So he's hitting the whole enemy party and has a 35% chance of just blocking their skills with his A1. If he's part of an ally attack with Lady Mikage, that basically means you are just crippling that party every time you attack. He doesn't have to do a lot of damage. You'll probably also notice I got a 5-star blessing on him, and that just makes him even more ferocious, because basically it takes all of the lesser versions of the debuffs and it makes them greater. So if you look at his other moves, he's got small decreased speed, which is 15%, it turns it into the 30% decreased speed, and it's got a 75% chance of placing. And then he's got decreased attack and decreased defense. It's got a 100% chance of placing this. So you get a 100% chance of placing decreased defense. And now there's a huge chance, how huge? 45% right now, that it can be the big version. So basically, this guy has made it so that I really don't need to build War Maiden. If I really wanted somebody to decrease defense, this guy does it just as well. Maybe he doesn't do it as frequently. Like War Maiden gets a 3-turn cooldown on her decreased defense move. But if you just consider all the other stuff he does, he's got this decreased speed, he's got the lockout, every single move is an AoE, he's got stuns. I made sure he had enough accuracy so that everything lands all the way up to level 20 dungeons. In fact, this is probably enough for, I want to say this could probably get you to about hard 4 level of the dungeons as well. And of course, you don't need accuracy at all for the stun set. Like this just works. So this 18%, which is actually up to 23 because of the fearsome presence, will always kick in whenever you attack anybody, as long as they don't have block debuffs. So this guy where's he amazing? Anywhere that you have to deal with waves and you need a little bit of crowd control. So secret rooms, Cintranos, any dungeon, especially if the boss in that dungeon also has minions, it's great to be able to control them. And it's often good to consider who can you bring that can crowd control instead of just do straight up damage, because particularly when you're dealing with the ice golem, the more damage you do to him and the faster he takes damage, the more frequently he's going to use his big hitter that revives his minions anyway and does tons of damage to you. So you don't want to do too much damage too quickly. And you can also mitigate the damage because you're getting the decreased attack, which can now be the big version. So that's why Bellower is number 4. So we're getting down to the top 3. And right before I get to the top 3, guys, I mean, feel free to guess who my top 3 are. If you've been following my show at all, you could probably guess who all 3 of them are. They're pretty amazing champions. So without further ado, here's number 3. It's Skullcrown. And I think this is where I'm actually going to switch out. And I'm gonna show you why Skullcrown. So right now, Skullcrown is my campaign farmer. This is how I've been going after those boots that I finally got. I cannot believe it took 6 months and basically like 15 pairs of the best boots. I don't know how many pairs of boots were either the wrong main stat, but it took a hell of a lot. I must have done this thousands of times. But anyway, here comes Skullcrown with a 12-second run, and this is nightmare difficulty. Just going after speed boots. So that's part of why anyway. She's also good in the arena. So if I go to the classic arena, we can take a look at some of the, I'll just refresh this. You know I like to attack the singletons, but basically, like here, I've got, I built this team just because sometimes you get that stupid quest where they're like, do an arena fight with all champions from one faction. So I'm like, fine, Knight Revenant. And I ended up taking a champion that's barely built. And I just put him in the team just because this completes the single faction, but also the all 4 affinities. They're all in one team. So I just put them in. So Skullcrown is the TPS for this team. It really shouldn't be any trouble to get through Sun Wukong. I don't know how he managed to not kill him. It's actually kind of surprising. But also, if you have Skullcrown, in an ally attack, it could be pretty devastating. So I've got an ally attack team here. And hopefully this will work. Maybe I'll highlight her just to make sure the right champion gets highlight. But Skullcrown is great in arena as well. Now dealing with Sun Wukong, that's the problem, is he refused to die. I brought Phenax for just such an occasion. And what I would have wanted to see, I might take this off off auto just to see if I can get this to work right. So I just do the speed boost, and then I want to do the ally attack to get rid of the reviver. And I've placed block revive because of the turn order. Oh, there's another block revive. Really, I wanted to hit Sun Wukong with that, but you get the idea. I love Fenax. Just amazing in an ally attack. But we're talking about Skullcrown. We're not talking about Fenax. Like, Fenax is like my best nuker on my main account. It's kind of hilarious that it's a mere epic. But you got to have the gear for it. He's tough to gear. And I'm still talking about Fenax. He's right now got my best set of Stone Skin gear, just so he can basically kind of idle a little slower than the other champions, so that he's got a chance to take part in various ally attacks. So I could use the likes of Lady Mikage to get an ally attack out of him while he's still in Stone Skin. Extremely handy. But Skullcrown, I mean, like, a lot of the same stuff that I said about Bellower is true of Skullcrown. Like, if you're dealing with waves, Skullcrown does the damage. So in a lot of my dungeoneering teams, I bring Skullcrown. She's amazing at soloing. She can solo the Doom Tower, honestly, at very early stages. Let me put my money where my mouth is. Let's go to the Doom Tower, and let's just say a low stage. Like, why not level 1? Just for fun, we'll take them out. We'll just put in Skullcrown. I'm pretty sure she could just do it. So not quite. And you know, funnily enough, I bet Sun Wukong could actually clear this in 3 turns. Let's see. She did it in 4. Sun Wukong is the other kind of king of soloing this content for me. So he got that one down. He got those guys down. Did he get a lucky refresh? Oh, he did. Oh, he did it in 3 moves. Okay, so, I mean, he did even better than Skullcrown there, but that's because he got lucky. Skullcrown is super dependable. Plus, I mean, let's go over a kit. Let's go over why she's good. So with Skullcrown, and here's another thing. I got really lucky again, and I was able to get, do it this way, I was able to get 9 pieces of Slayer. I couldn't even do this for my Skullcrown on my main account, but it just happened to work out this way on the starter account, so it goes. She didn't get the best stats here. Like, instead of accuracy, I would have wanted this to be attack. Here, instead of HP, crit damage is what I would have wanted, and here, instead of defense, obviously attack again. So I didn't get lucky on the stats, but basically I've got crit damage here, I got attack percent here, I got attack percent here. These are always kind of the same, but I do manage to get off a 100% crit rate, 187 crit damage. I'd love to get that higher. I'm reasonably happy with the attack. I'd love to still get this up to maybe 5,000. Her attack is increased by having the 2-star blessing, and the crushing rend is great. It gives you just a little bit of extra smack when you're dealing with those waves. So, masteries, Helm Smasher, that shouldn't surprise anybody. Skullcrown is just really, really good in a lot of ways. So yeah, here's the other thing about Skullcrown. She can go unkillable instead of dying, and this can really save you if you have to go second. So it's another important consideration when trying to create a team that's going to be able to survive getting hit on the first wave. You could even put her in the Fury set so that her damage increases as she loses HP, and she'll drop down to 1, so her damage will effectively double. I think that's how it works, and you'll hit back tremendously hard unless they have a Sun Wukong or somebody else that can place block buffs before knocking her out. Then, I mean, she doesn't get to place the buff on herself and she dies. So them's the breaks, I guess, but still, I gotta say, she's the 3rd best on my account. So we're really coming down to the wire here. There are 2 left. Number 2, Sullivan, Sulfurion. I freaking love this guy. Now this was like bonkers good luck, but I got I just got really lucky with a Void Shard. Like, this is the only Void Lego on the account, aside from Arbiter, technically. But she wasn't a lucky pull. She's just somebody that you have to work hard to get. Sulfurion, because he's a reviver, I like to build all my revivers in regen. I mean, the proof is how many have I got here? I have so many revivers on this account now. I got her. I got her. I got her. I've even got some that I didn't bother 6-starring, like the orc, blanking on his name. Here he is. Tagore, for instance. Basically, just if they're a reviver, I think even Dur the Hungerer is in regen. But Sulfurion rises above the others. And I guess I made kind of a pun without intending to, but like the rise from the ash, he can revive all of the dead, and it grants a free turn. That right there is already amazing, above and beyond everything else. Oh man, I forgot about the Queen. Of course, the Queen, yet another fantastic reviver. She's the only one that's not in regen, but this is almost regen. Like, it regenerates health, but she's also bringing a shield. She's important. She's mainly for arena. I want a little bit of shielding when I go second. So on a go second team, there's some good synergy here. Particularly with Malkith Bloodflock. I apologize again. I'm kind of just going all over the place with my champions, because these are other champions I've maxed, and I'm excited about these champions. They're great. Like my Knight Revenant faction is stacked. I think this is going to be the first one that manages to complete Faction Wars, because I got Skullcrown maxed, and she's awesome. I got Malkith Bloodflock. He's in a shield set. He's got a double revive. And then you got the Queen, and she's got her single target revive, and she's got regeneration on herself, and she's good and fast. How fast is she? She's 235. Not the fastest, but she's fast and she's tough. I can't believe she wasn't on the top 10, come to think of it. But you know what? I stand by my top 10. And so here's number 2. Like, another thing about this top 10 is I had to consider what else is the utility. And the thing is, yeah, this guy is an amazing reviver. I gave him stats to be as tough as I could make him. He's not my toughest reviver, but man, is he good. He is my fastest at this point at 238. But I wanted to make sure he had 200 accuracy. So he's even got the accuracy subset here. And I finally found an accuracy banner. For a while, I didn't have one, so I had to give him an accuracy chest, and that made him pretty squishy. But now I'm happy with him nice and tough. Now, Sulfurion is on most of my dungeon teams. He's on, like, my all-star dungeon team. I built an all-star dungeon team. I'm probably going to feature that into another video because this video is already getting quite long. So I'm probably just going to show you guys this. I think this is the thing I'm most excited about with him. Like, he's on a lot of teams. Fire Knight. No, I'm not using him on my Fire Knight team. What about Dragon? No? Okay, maybe I fibbed. Okay, but he is on my Ice Golem team, along with Fenax and a good assortment of champions. You know, like I talked about Bellower, and Bellower is amazing on this team. Maybe I'll run this team too, just to show off Sulfurion. And then I'll show the truly amazing power Sulfurion has. But he's good against like any boss, and he's good support. But let's run him right now against Ice Golem. Ice Golem's in season anyway. We can get points towards that Mithrala soul, which is pretty compelling, really. I don't know how far along the track I'm going to get, though, because honestly, I don't know how long it's going to take to achieve Mithrala on this account, so I don't know if it's worth bothering with. But I will use the available energy wisely. I'll put it that way. So here you can see Bellower's utility. This is what I was talking about. Like, look, he's got the increase, or the decrease attack, decrease defense, decrease speed. He's locking out their skills. He's stunning them. He's just doing it all. Like, that's all Bellower. Nobody else in the party can do any of that. The poisons are coming from him, from Uragrim. Fenax is basically just here to hit things hard. That's his raison d'etre. That's the only reason he's here. I don't even know if the White Queen needs to be here. I think she might even be a relic from before I got Sulfurion. I just had somebody else in the leadership slot, and I'm trying to remember who that even was. But it would have been a similar team. It took a little longer, though. But you know what? We just saw Fenax die there, so maybe that's why. It's good to just have one extra reviver just in case. I probably just did it for the sheer safety of it. There's really no shame in bringing an extra reviver. I mean, we're making good time. This is only a minute and a half, and we're already at the boss. Not bad for an account that's only 6 months old. Now, with Fenax, sometimes he kills the minions, and sometimes someone else kills them. The more damage I can give to Fenax, the better my chances are going to be of scoring the death blow. He's also got some counterattack, so that counterattack killed the minion. That was pretty fun. But basically, if we can kill these minions, the Ice Golem can never hit us particularly hard. He actually ignores 100% of your defense if his minions are up. So we've blocked the revive on both of them now. So now, he's not ignoring any of our defense. So he's hitting us like a wet noodle at this point. He's just no threat at all. He's going to get drenched in poisons. He's going to get drenched in flames because of Sulfurion. He's not going to have a good time. We're going to have a good time. We're going to get a prize. He is not going to have a good time. And he's going to get dead. I mean, just look at all those numbers popping out of him. All the poisons, that decreased defense, all the debuffs. And of course, because they're debuffs, with Fenax, I basically just turned off everything other than his A1. I just wanted him to come in and do his chop, block, revive. Anyway, Fenax is amazing. Bellower is amazing. Sulfurion is amazingly amazing. Even Ancora is pretty amazing. But let me show you the other farm that I've got now. So basically, it used to be that I was farming Spider 10, and I'd use, say, at first I think I was using Kale and Sun Wukong, and then I switched to Xeno Grey Blade Master and Sun Wukong, because basically Sun Wukong made it impossible to kill my main nuker. But now, I've got Sulfurion, and basically I'm just using a Renegade to make the run faster, but this actually works without the Renegade. Sulfurion can completely solo it, but putting in the Renegade cuts the time in half. The rest of it, just food. And this is what the run looks like. This is what your average run, at least I'm hoping this is what your average run looks like. Unless I get 3%ed on the burns, but the thing is, even then, you're at least burning most of the Spiderlings. So, Spider's almost completely dead now, and I managed to go exactly twice. Use the revive there, which actually grants a free turn, which means I'm one turn away from my next Fire Blast, and there it is. That's how fast it is. I barely had time to talk our way through that fight. This is how I farm Spider now. I love Sulfurion. Thank you, RNGesus. This guy's completely amazing. So, on to number one. Have you guys guessed who number one is yet? It shouldn't be terribly difficult to guess. I'll give you a hint. Look at my avatar. That's your hint. That's not much of a hint, right? Because, of course, you know, it's Wixie. No, number one, scroll down to him. It's Wixie. It's Wixie business. I built him in a reflex set, basically because I want him to use his shield and buff extension as often as possible, so that he basically just keeps growing the shield. It is bonkers how quickly the team becomes invincible when he does this. You just need enough champions to extend the buffs. As it happens, I already have a number of champions who can do this with him. So as long as you pair Wixie with Lady Mikage and Malkith Bloodflock, although I think technically I'm using Valerie. I just kind of liked the fact I could depend on her to have a dedicated slot in my clan boss team. So it could be her. It could be the other rare that does it. I got her recently, and I was thinking of building her because she can also extend the buffs, and she might be even better for the damage. But I mean, I'm already doing 160 million to the clan boss. Like let's see. It's 166 today against Ultra Nightmare. 185 today against Nightmare, and Brutal was over 200. I don't think I need the help with the damage, but just for fun, I could build up Ninja and replace Xenogray. I could build up Hellborn Sprite and replace Valerie, and I could see if it makes much of a difference. It could make a big difference, but the fact of the matter is, like, why would I waste my energy doing that? It seems like I've solved clan boss on this account. The one thing is, right now, our clan is not able to hit particularly hard. This is my alt account, Oversoul. This isn't even my main alt account. This is part of what burns me out from time to time. And if I go several days without posting an episode of any kind, I'm probably still playing. I'm just managing multiple accounts. It's something I wish I didn't do to myself because honestly, it's a lot of work. But I've got 5 different accounts that can one key Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, and I'll frequently use them to help my various clans out. But as for this account, I mean, if I could double this damage again, that would be great. My main account scores damn near 400 million using Wixie. So Wixie might even be my favorite champion on my main account, but he's definitely my favorite champion here. He is number 1. There is no question. And there's so many reasons why he's number 1. He's got the intercept buff, which is almost non-existent. They introduced a new champion that also has it recently. But this guy's just nuts. Like, everything about him. He's got the increased defense in all battles, so it's easy to make him your lead. And often your lead gets singled out by ally attackers, by bosses, by various enemies. They'll just single him out, and as soon as they hit him, they hit his counterattack because he always has counterattack on himself. Why? Because Wixie is a little bit broken, but I think in a good way. Like, not like Armand's, who is broken in a really, really bad way. Wixie is broken in the best possible way. It's just so satisfying to use him. So you're hitting back with a Provoke, which has limited power against an enemy team, right? So you can't just completely lock down your enemy team, but against bosses, you really can completely lock down a boss that's vulnerable to Provoke. So like the Magma Dragon in the Doom Tower, this guy's your man. You put him in the lead, and basically any random 4 champions plus Wixie, Wixie's going to keep him controlled. He won't be able to do anything except bite Wixie, and he won't even chew through his shield. And he's got the increased defense. And he's a defense-based champion. And I've got his cooldowns cycling through so that he's going to do the move all the time. As a point of interest, here are his stats. I wanted to make sure he had enough accuracy to hit the clan boss, but also enough accuracy to hit the Hydra boss, because he's also instrumental to that team. But I want to use him as a mischief tank. So basically, whenever Hydra tries to steal his buffs, and it's going to be Wixie, because he's going to have the most buffs. At any time, he's giving himself extra buffs. He's giving himself at least 1 extra buff, but I think I've also got him in it. No, I don't have him in a shield ring. I think I considered putting him in it, but you know what? I think I gave it to Armiger. I gave it to Armiger, and come to think of it, that's a better use for it, because Wixie puts up his own shields anyway, so it'd be redundant to give him that. So we could even look at the Hydra team. Maybe I should just make that a different run, a different video, because again, this video's gotten quite long. But I will say this: maybe I'll at least start a Hydra battle right after I just stop by. I'm sorry, I'm doing this by rote, and I can't believe it. I'm full on champions, so never mind. But we go to Hydra. And I'll just show you the beginning of the Hydra fight. I was trying to describe this in another video. Since the last video where I covered how my Hydra team works, I didn't actually do a run. And you can kind of see this is like an all-star lineup. These are a bunch of guys from my top 10. Rathalos Blademaster didn't make the top 10. That's kind of too bad. He's really, really good when you pair him with somebody with flames, like Sully, right? So Sully brings the fire, he brings the pain. But check it out. I didn't just write this here, 125 million. This is what he scored last time. Now, against normal, you only need 111 and it's cleared. So at this point, now that I know I can do 125 million, I would basically stubbornly stay in until I clear it to make sure that basically anybody else in my clan that wants to get the top chest from normal is going to get it. And right now it looks like Ops Hunter and above are going to get a chest. So as long as we drop normal, we're going to get more. We're going to get double. We get two of them. It's 1.6. That's interesting. I could have sworn it used to be 1.66. Maybe it's always been 1.67. But anyway, you want to do well above to make sure you hit the threshold. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open this up. And I'm going to start the run, but the run could go for a while. There's basically one thing that I do manually, and that's just click on the Head of Decay to make sure that Wixie's very first A1 provokes him. Now that he's provoked, he should theoretically get locked into a provoke, because every time he attacks Wixie, he's just going to get provoked again. And he'll never be able to do anything. Most of the damage, though, is being done by Sully and Rathalos Blademaster. I mean, the two of them just do crazy amounts of damage. We, of course, got the block buffs coming off Sun Wukong. That's why he's in the party. It's very important. And you're not going to see crazy damage numbers here. But this is basically my team. This is where the account's at in about 6 months. So this is coming out kind of loud, eh? I do apologize if the game is coming out like a little too loud. I really try to balance the volume. I try to turn the volume on the game down all the way. Just doesn't necessarily work. Yeah, we chopped off the first head. I mean, I'm kind of into it now. I want to see where this clan boss fight happens, but or how long it takes. You know what? It's going to take too long. Where are we at in terms of time on this video? Oh, that's good. That actually switches the sound off as well. I like that. Oh man, damn near an hour. So I apologize. This video is quite long. If you bore with me for the whole hour just to watch me go over my top 10 favorite champions, well, thank you very much. I'm flattered that you bared with me. It's been pretty fun doing the best start guide. I don't know how many more episodes there are going to be. I wanted to do one on episode on day 200 just because it's a nice round number. I wanted to do something special, and I figured going over my top 10 favorites, I might do another follow-up episode. Guys, tell me if this interests you. I might do a follow-up episode of the top 10 champions that I thought I was going to build, that I was excited about, but just didn't get to because there was just something better. I think that'd be another good list. So you guys can let me know if you want to see that video. Anyway, that's about all I got for you guys today. Thanks for stopping by. See you on the next video. Take care of yourselves.